Ever wonder what goes into turning like a pile of cotton into the shirt on your back?
Right.
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
You've asked us to look into the world of a spinning machine operator.
Okay.
And I gotta say, the research we got from RoleCatcher is fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. It's a blend of, you think about it, old school craftsmanship, but also this high-tech manufacturing that's crucial to the entire textile industry, really.
It's more than just pushing buttons, right?
Yeah.
These RoleCatcher guides make it clear that a spinning machine operator is responsible for a lot.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big job. Imagine being in charge of these massive machines. I mean, we're talking bigger than a car in some cases.
Wow.
Taking these raw fibers, like your cotton or wool, and spinning them into yarn.
Okay.
You'd be responsible for everything, from setting up, calibrating those machines, to making sure that the final product, the yarn itself,
Right.
meets, precise quality standards.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. We've got the machines, we've got the fibers, but what does setting up actually entail?
Well, you got to think about it. Each type of fiber, whether it's cotton, wool, synthetics, they all behave differently, right?
Right.
So the operator needs to adjust the machine settings based on that material.
Interesting.
So speed, tension, even the type of spinning mechanism they use, it all impacts that final yarn.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. The RoleCatcher guide delves into all these different types of spinning. Ring spinning, rotor spinning, even something called air jet spinning. What is the difference and why does it matter?
Well, and those are, essentially we're talking about how those fibers are twisted together to create the yarn, right?
Okay.
So ring spinning, that's your most traditional method.
Yeah.
It produces a finer, smoother yarn, right?
Okay.
Perfect for things like bed sheets.
Okay.
Then you've got your rotor spinning, faster, more efficient, but the yarn is a bit fuzzier.
Interesting.
So depending on what you're making, a t-shirt versus a wool coat,
Right.
the operator needs to choose the right spinning method and then set up the machine accordingly.
That's where that deep knowledge of the machines comes in. It sounds like there's a lot of problem solving involved too. The guide mentions troubleshooting jams, breaks, inconsistencies in the yarn.
Oh, constantly. Just like any complex piece of machinery, these things require constant monitoring, maintenance. A skilled operator, though,
Yeah.
they can hear a subtle change in the machine's rhythm and know something's off, sometimes before it even becomes a major issue. It's really kind of cool.
And I'm guessing a good eye for detail is crucial too.
Oh, absolutely. They're constantly inspecting that yarn for any imperfections,
Wow.
knots, thin spots, unevenness,
Right.
and making adjustments to the machine's settings to correct them. That's where you get that blend of, the technical know-how, but also that craftsman's eye.
It's a good thing those RoleCatcher guides include sample interview questions about troubleshooting and problem solving. It sounds like employers are really looking for that ability to think on your feet.
Oh, for sure. That's huge. It's a highly sought after skill, especially now, with automation becoming more and more prevalent in the industry. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
You've piqued my curiosity. So we've got these technical skills down, but the RoleCatcher guides also highlight those all-important, soft skills, communication, teamwork, adaptability.
And those are essential anywhere, but in this type of setting, a manufacturing setting, especially textiles,
Why?
you're often working in a fast-paced environment. You're coordinating with other operators, supervisors, maybe even engineers.
Not to mention keeping up with the constantly evolving world of textiles, new materials, new technologies. It sounds like you need to be a lifelong learner in this field.
100%. That's where that adaptability really comes in.
Yeah.
A successful spinning machine operator, they're always looking for ways to improve, to learn new techniques,
Right.
stay ahead of the curve.
Which is probably why RoleCatcher puts so much emphasis on building a strong resume and acing that interview. They even have this AI-powered tool now that analyzes job descriptions and tailors your resume to highlight the most relevant skills.
Wild, huh?
It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt.
Right. You're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Exactly. And speaking of technology, let's talk about how it's impacting the role of a spinning machine operator.
Yeah.
We touched on automation earlier, but those RoleCatcher guides really delve into how it's changing the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not just those giant spinning machines anymore. We're talking computer-controlled systems, robotics, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So how does that impact the day-to-day work of an operator?
Well, imagine this. You walk into a modern textile factory,
Okay.
and instead of rows and rows of these noisy machines,
Yeah.
you see a handful of operators, and they're monitoring like banks of screens.
Wow.
And those screens are connected to like these highly automated spinning machines that can practically run themselves.
So is it a case of set it and forget it? The operator just kicks back and watches the yarn fly by.
Not quite. Not quite. Okay.
While automation has definitely streamlined certain tasks, it's also created new ones.
Right.
So instead of manually threading a machine, an operator might now be responsible for programming that machine to do it automatically.
Oh, wow.
Instead of fixing a mechanical jam, they might need to troubleshoot a software glitch.
So it's less about brawn and more about brains.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
The physical demands might be less intense in a highly automated setting, but the need for technical expertise, problem-solving skills, and the ability to adapt to new technologies, that's more important than ever.
It's almost like the role is evolving from a craftsman to a technician or even an engineer.
Exactly. And that's why those RoleCatcher career guides emphasize the importance of continuous learning.
Yeah.
They highlight different training programs, certifications, and even online courses that can help operators stay ahead of that automation curve.
So someone entering this field today might want to brush up on their coding skills.
It certainly wouldn't hurt.
But even more important than specific coding knowledge is the ability to learn and adapt to new software and systems.
Yeah.
Because this industry, it's constantly innovating. So a successful operator, they need to be comfortable with change.
Right, yeah. It sounds like those soft skills, that adaptability, that problem-solving mindset, are really what sets someone apart in this field, maybe even more than knowing the ins and outs of a particular machine.
100%. Because even the most advanced machine is only as good as the person operating it. You know, a skilled operator can anticipate problems, make adjustments on the fly,
Right.
and even come up with creative solutions that the engineers might not have considered.
It's like that human touch, that ability to think outside the box is still what makes a difference, even in this age of automation.
Precisely. And that's why, despite all the talk about robots taking over, the demand for skilled spinning machine operators remains strong.
Interesting.
In fact, those RoleCatcher reports, they suggest that the industry is actually facing a shortage of qualified operators, especially those who can bridge the gap between that traditional craftsmanship and modern technology.
That's interesting because you might assume that automation would lead to fewer jobs, not more.
It's a common misconception. While it's true that automation might displace some jobs, it also creates new ones.
Okay.
And in many cases, those new jobs require a higher level of skill and expertise, which often translates to higher wages.
So it's not just about job security, it's about career advancement.
Exactly. Think about it. Someone who starts out operating a traditional spinning machine might, with the right training and experience, move into a supervisory role, overseeing a team of operators, or even transition into a technical role, working on the programming and maintenance of those automated systems.
The whole new world of possibilities. And speaking of possibilities, I was fascinated by the section in the RoleCatcher guides about specialization within this field. Can you tell us more about that?
Of course. Just like in any profession, as you gain experience as a spinning machine operator, you might find yourself drawn to certain aspects of the work.
Right.
Maybe you have a knack for working with, like, delicate cashmere fibers.
Okay.
Or perhaps you're fascinated by the precision of air jet spinning.
So you could become a specialist in a particular type of spinning or a particular type of yarn.
Exactly. And that kind of expertise is highly valued in the industry. You might become the go-to person for troubleshooting a specific type of machine or developing new spinning techniques for a new type of fiber.
It's like becoming a master chef of the textile world.
Right.
But instead of specializing in French cuisine, you're the expert on, say, recycled polyester blends.
I like that analogy. And just like a master chef, a specialized spinning machine operator can command a higher salary and enjoy a greater degree of job satisfaction.
It's about finding your niche and becoming indispensable in that area. But specialization isn't the only path for advancement, right? Those RoleCatcher guides mentioned management roles, training positions.
Absolutely. As you gain experience and expertise, you might find yourself drawn to those leadership roles. You could become a team leader, responsible for training and supervising new operators.
Okay.
Or even move into a management position overseeing an entire spinning department.
So someone who starts out on the factory floor, learning the ropes of a spinning machine, could potentially climb the ladder to a management position.
Absolutely. It's a career path with real potential for growth. especially for those who are dedicated, adaptable, and eager to learn. And with the textile industry constantly evolving and embracing new technologies, there's no telling where this career path might lead in the future.
It's a fascinating field with a rich history, but also an eye on the future. Now, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects of the job.
Right.
But what about the work environment itself? What's it actually like to be a spinning machine operator day to day?
Well, it's not for everyone, that's for sure. It can be a demanding job, often requiring long hours on your feet in a fast-paced, sometimes noisy environment.
Those machines are working overtime, I imagine. So someone who's easily overwhelmed by noise or prefers a quiet office setting might want to think twice.
That's probably wise.
Yeah.
But for those who thrive in a hands-on environment, who enjoy the rhythm of machinery and the satisfaction of seeing a tangible product take shape,
Yeah.
those are the people who tend to excel in this field.
And what about the people? You mentioned teamwork earlier. Are spinning machine operators usually working solo or as part of a team?
It varies, depending on the size and structure of the factory.
Right.
But in general, it's a collaborative field.
Okay.
Operators often work closely together, sharing knowledge, troubleshooting problems, ensuring that the production process runs smoothly.
So good communication skills are key.
Absolutely. You need to be able to clearly communicate with your colleagues, your supervisors,
Right.
and even with technicians or engineers if there are issues with the machinery.
And I imagine a sense of humor doesn't hurt either, especially when you're dealing with those long hours and occasional machine hiccups.
That's a great point. A positive attitude and a good sense of humor can go a long way in this field, especially during those challenging moments.
It's all about finding the joy in the process, even when things get a little threadbare. So we've got the demanding aspects, the collaborative spirit. Anything else someone considering this career should know about the day-to-day reality?
Safety is paramount.
Right.
Textile factories, they can be hazardous environments. With all the moving machinery, potential dust inhalation, and sometimes even exposure to chemicals, a good employer will prioritize safety training and provide all the necessary protective gear, but it's up to the operator to follow those safety protocols and work responsibly.
Safety first, always a good motto.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture. You mentioned earlier that the textile industry is global.
Right.
What does that mean for someone considering a career as a spinning machine operator?
It's actually a great question,
Yeah.
and one that often gets overlooked. When you think about it, textiles are everywhere.
Yeah.
The clothes we wear, the furniture we sit on, even the cars we drive,
Right.
they all rely on textiles. And those textiles are produced all over the world.
So the skills of a spinning machine operator are transferable. You could potentially work in different countries, different types of factories.
That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
While there might be variations in machinery or specific techniques, the fundamental principles of spinning remain the same, regardless of where you are in the world.
So it's less about memorizing the specific buttons on a particular machine,
Right.
and more about understanding the underlying concepts of fiber properties, spinning techniques, and quality control.
Exactly. Those core skills are your passport to a world of opportunity.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm not saying it's as easy as packing your bags and hopping on a plane. There are always cultural nuances, language barriers,
Right.
and of course the logistics of work visas and such.
Right. It's not quite as simple as we'll spin yarn for travel.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that this career path could potentially open doors to international experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even if you choose to stay closer to home, having that global perspective,
Right.
understanding how textiles are produced and consumed in different parts of the world can
Yeah.
give you a real advantage.
It's like seeing the bigger picture, understanding how your work fits into this vast and interconnected industry.
Yeah.
Now, before we get too caught up in the global threads of it all, let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Sounds good. What do you have in mind?
Well, we've talked a lot about the technical skills and the global reach of this career, but I'm curious about the human side of it all. What are some of the rewards and challenges that come with being a spinning machine operator beyond the day-to-day tasks?
That's a great question, and it's something those RoleCatcher guides touch on as well.
Okay.
One of the most common things you hear from people in this field is the satisfaction they get from working with their hands,
Right.
from taking a raw material and transforming it into something useful and often really beautiful.
It's that age-old connection between human ingenuity and craftsmanship.
Right. Exactly. And even with all the advancements in automation, that essential element of human skill and creativity, it still remains at the heart of textile production. And then there's the satisfaction of being part of a team, of working together to achieve a common goal. In many factories, there's a real sense of camaraderie among the operators, a shared understanding of the challenges and rewards of the work.
It's like they're spinning more than just yarn, they're spinning connections.
I love that. And those connections often extend beyond the factory walls. Textile manufacturing, despite its global reach, is still very much a people-driven industry.
So there's that potential for building relationships with suppliers, distributors, even designers, people from all different parts of the industry.
Absolutely. And those relationships can be incredibly rewarding, both professionally and personally.
Right.
Now, of course, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
Like any career, being a spinning machine operator has its challenges. We talked about the demanding work environment, the long hours, the need to stay constantly vigilant for safety hazards.
Right. It's not a job for the faint of heart.
Exactly. And then there's the pressure of meeting production quotas, maintaining those quality standards, and just, keeping those machines humming along smoothly.
It sounds like you need a certain level of resilience, an ability to stay focused and positive, even when things get a little frayed around the edges.
Resilience is key. But for many operators, those challenges are outweighed by the rewards. The sense of accomplishment, the camaraderie, the knowledge that they're playing a vital role in a global industry.
It's about finding that balance between the demands and the rewards, just like in any career. Now, we can't talk about the future of this field without addressing the elephant in the room: sustainability. The textile industry has a bit of a reputation for being, shall we say, not so eco-friendly.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Historically, textile manufacturing has been a resource-intensive industry with a significant environmental footprint. But the good news is that things are changing.
Consumers are demanding more sustainable practices, and the industry is responding.
Exactly. We're seeing a surge in the use of recycled fibers, organic cotton, and other eco-friendly materials. And there's a growing emphasis on reducing water consumption, minimizing waste, and adopting cleaner manufacturing processes.
So how does this sustainability shift impact the role of a spinning machine operator?
It's actually a really exciting time to be entering this field because operators are on the front lines of this transformation. They might find themselves working with new types of fibers, learning new processing techniques, and even contributing to the development of more sustainable manufacturing practices.
So it's not just about keeping the machines running, it's about finding ways to do it better, more efficiently, and with a greater awareness of the environmental impact.
Precisely. And that shift towards sustainability, it's creating new opportunities within the field.
Okay.
There's a growing demand for operators who understand these new materials and processes, who can troubleshoot problems, and who are always looking for ways to, minimize their environmental footprint.
So someone with a passion for sustainability could really make a difference in this field.
Absolutely. They could become experts in, recycled fiber processing, develop new techniques for waterless dyeing, or even help to design the next generation of eco-friendly textiles.
That's a pretty inspiring thought, to be a part of creating a more sustainable future for the fashion and textile industries.
It's an exciting time to be involved in this industry, and spinning machine operators are at the heart of it all.
They're spinning the threads that connect us to our clothes, our homes, our world. So for anyone out there considering a career as a spinning machine operator, what's one key takeaway you hope they walk away with today?
I think it's this. Don't underestimate the importance of this role. It's a challenging, rewarding, and surprisingly dynamic field with a rich history and an even brighter future. It's a career that combines technical skill, creativity, and a passion for making things that matter.
It's about taking those raw fibers, the potential, the possibilities, and spinning them into something extraordinary. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.